Hello everyone and welcome back to Jacqs Scraps. Thanks for joining me today for another design team project for Country Craft Creations. And I have once again used the Our Graduate paper collection, and this is a graduation theme, and so I did another graduation project. So let's dig in. So I wanted to create a more traditional brag book for graduation. This is something that you could create for like a grandparent or as a gift. Maybe someone's leaving the graduation party and you already have photos, you can put them in this little brag book and they can take it with you. Just a really nice little keepsake. It measures 6 5/8 by 4 3/8. It's a perfect size to travel with you as well as to set out and share with others. I use the We Are Memory Keepers cinch binding machine to bind my little brag book, and I just love doing that type of binding. On the cover, I layered some decorative paper. I have 2 different layers here, and then I layered on this journaling card that is backed on black cardstock to kind of elevate that a little bit and make it more prominent. I just love that you could add a photo of the graduating person here on the front cover, and then it says Our Graduate. I used the seal, the like wax seal that's part of the ephemera pieces in the collection, and added that here along with this like brass metal camera. I just love that on here. It's so neat, very vintage to go along with the collection, and then added some wood veneers here on each corner. So when I created this brag book, I did not have a particular gender in mind, so you can use this for any gender. So let's go into the pages. On the back of the cover, we have another area where you could add a photo. Now I did add some little decorative pieces here, some decorative gems, but you could lift this up and put a photo underneath it if you wanted to. Now I added this little circle here. It's actually a really lovely photo, and I wanted to include that. I forgot to do that when I bound my brag book. So what I did, I already had the holes in it. I just then took my scissors and cut straight across so that I could insert it into the little brag book here or album. Now, you could do this same method with just regular photos. If you wanted to add additional photos, you could just punch the holes and cut them and then add them, which is really great. So I put a little something behind the pages so that the light isn't reflecting as badly. But what you'll see here are 6 pages in total, and each page has a slot on the right-hand side where you can add a 4x6 photo. You just open that up a little bit and then slide in your photo. Goes in really easy and is protected behind an acetate cover, and then you have this nice decorative edge around the image. So each page has that, and you'll also notice some elements that I added. This is fussy cut out and glued down, and then this little congratulations here has some really pretty balloons in it, and I added some pearls on the side here that were the same color as the balloons to kind of pull out that color. And then I also left that open so that you could add something to the front and tuck that under there if you wanted to as well. On the back of our first page, we have this little belly band. I put this element up on some foam just to give it some dimension. And then we have 2 little journaling cards that are in the collection. What I also did is added a little strip of acetate here on the bottom. And then that way it stops your cards or your photos from falling through when you add them into the belly band. On our next page, it had the graduation cap and feathers. So I added a feather charm here on the side. I thought that would be really fun and a nice little element there. I also added this ephemera piece here, and again, you can tuck underneath that. And then of course you have your slot for your 4x6 photos. On the back side here, I created a tuck spot out of the paper. I actually just cut alongside this image on the left-hand side and the top, and then I was able to insert this cute little certificate of completion. I think this is so adorable. And then that just tucks right in there. There is plenty of room here, though. You could add photos as well. For our next page, we have this little globe element. Again, you can tuck something behind that. I added a couple enamel dots here in the corner. You have your area to add your photo. And then on the back side, I created a photo mat here, so you could just add your photo right onto this mat, and it can tuck underneath this image as well as the top image. And then this is one of the little journaling cards from the collection. So cute. On our next page here, I fussy cut out some balloons and added those. And then I added this ephemera piece. And again, you can tuck underneath that. What's really great about this image is she is holding a little book and it says, "Love this." Again, this is a photo page. And then on the back side, we have a top tuck area. Here's the beautiful paper. I love that. And it is holding this little faux Polaroid here where you can add an image to this square and then on the back, or journal on the back. And then this cute little great adventure journaling card. On our next page here, we have this cute little podium. I think that would be great. Like if you took a picture of someone was giving an address, that would be a nice spot for that. Again, you can tuck underneath it. And then I added a graduation cap that I fussy cut out to the top there. And we have our area to add our photo with our acetate cover. On the back side, we have another little tuck spot I created and added 3 faux Polaroids. And there is what the paper looks like, really pretty. So if you notice on the paper is double-sided. I would take one side of the image and put it here and then the other side on the front. Then I added this ephemera piece from the collection as well. On our next page, I fussy cut out this little scroll or diploma and added it here in the corner and added this element here. And then we have our place to put your photo. On the back side, I created a side tuck, and in that we have this little faux Polaroid booklet, and then I included this little photo mat. And then here is what that looks like. Really pretty paper. This collection is gorgeous. We've come to the back inside cover, and what I did was I mirrored this page and created a side tuck here, and then added this photo mat that says congratulations. And on the back of the cover, I added a little ephemera piece here and a faux Polaroid again. Great place to add photos and journaling. And then I included an acetate piece for the back cover in case you added a photo there just to protect it. So that's my little brag book project. I really love how this turned out. I just love the nostalgia of a brag book. It really is like a mini album, but it's just so cute. You could put this in your purse, your bag, take it with you. I mean, that's what the brag books used to be, right? Just pages with slats for photos, and I just wanted to mirror that. I did create this project using Cricut and Cricut Design Space, and I do provide a semi-tutorial following this portion of the video. I also let you know how to create this without a cutting machine. So don't fear, if you don't have a Cricut, you would still be able to recreate this project. So that's it, everyone. I hope you like this project and will give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to comment and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And for those that can stay around for the tutorial, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to run through how to create one of the pages for this project, but I'll do the rest of them offline. But the same premise of how we create one page is basically the same for all of them. You will have seen how I created each page in the reveal, and so that will give you some ideas on decorating. Now this project was created using my Cricut Maker, and I created the page design in Cricut Design Space. I will have that file as well as a handout for those that have the Cricut machine, and I will explain all of the files in the link that I share with you because I have some different ones in there that do different things, and so I wanted to just go ahead and share them all with you. For those that don't have a Cricut, I will be kind of telling you how you could recreate this without a cutting machine. The first thing you need to do is cut out the base page. For those without a cutting machine, you're going to need a piece that is 6 5/8 by 8 3/4 inches long. For those using the Cricut, you'll need an 8 1/2 by 11 piece of cardstock. You'll put that on the mat and you will cut out the green image that will cut out the center of your cardstock. This could be used as a photo mat later or a pocket. I've actually used some and cut them in half and made them little tuck spots, which you've seen in the reveal. But this piece is not a throwaway. I would definitely save this. Now, for those without a cutting machine, once you cut down your paper to this size, you can take your craft blade and a cutting mat and cut out a square or rectangle. If you want to get fancy, you could add the decorative edges that you see here. I personally wouldn't be able to do that. I'm not that great with a craft knife, but it's certainly an option. Another option is if you have a large punch, you could make a punch here as your design. Another option for those that don't have a cutting machine is you could take a piece of cardstock that is coordinating with the collection and cut that out and add it to your cardstock and create a photo mat. So as you can see, there are multiple ways that you can do this, whether you have a cutting machine or not. When you put this down on your paper, for those that don't have a cutting machine, you would want to make sure that you leave at least a 1/2 inch on the left-hand side for your binding. The next thing we're going to do, whether you have a cutting machine or not, is to score at 4 3/8. Now, the best way to score and get this to fold properly, I have found, is to flip it over and then score again at 4 3/8. I don't know why, it just seemed to help the paper fold over a little bit better. So go ahead and start folding this, and then you should get a nice fold and burnish. Now, for those that have a hole in their project, what you're going to do is take some score tape or other adhesive tape, and you're going to, on the inside, okay, on the inside where our hole is cut out, our decorative hole, and add tape along the edge there because we're going to add a piece of acetate. Okay, so you'll see I have it right up against the edge of where my hole is. Then we're going to remove the backing. You will take a 4x6 piece of acetate and put that over the adhesive tape that we just put down. And then I burnish that down as well. The acetate gives it a nicer look, and it also makes it easier to slide your photos into the pages. Now we're going to take our glue and we're going to add a very thin bead of glue along the bottom of the other side. So opposite where the acetate is where we're going to put our very thin line of glue. I do not recommend using adhesive tape for this piece. You want to go as thin as possible. And then fold this over and close it on there. And then burnish that down. We're creating our pocket for the page. Okay. To protect the acetate, I'm going to put it on top of a paper towel. And I'm going to add my decorative piece to the back side. So you'll need one piece that measures 6 3/8 by 4 1/8. What this gives is an 1/8 of an inch border. For those with a Cricut, I have created this file in the link that I'll be sharing with you. This is the center cutout, like we had here, but it's 1/8 of an inch smaller. I wanted a smaller photo mat for the back of this piece so that you could see more of the pretty paper. For those that do not have a cutting machine, all you have to do is cut a photo mat to go on the back, or you could do something different. For this page, this is what I've decided to do. And then I have some of the ephemera pieces from the collection that I cut out using my brother's Scan and Cut. I made some offsets for that one, and I'm just going to be adding them here. I think these are super cute. And the way I'm adding them is that you could still tuck your photo underneath them. Okay, let's go back to the front. For those that have the Cricut, you will find this piece in the file that I'm sharing with you. And this is the purple. But I'll have this all mapped out in the handout that I'm giving you, or project sheet. I'm really not giving directions in that. I'm really just kind of sharing how to use the files. And again, for those without a Cricut, it would all depend on what you're doing with the front on how you actually decorate it. But again, this will give you plenty of ideas on how to do that. And then I'm adding this cute little cut apart down here to the corner. And so that is the basic page construction for this little brag book. I repeated this same type of design 5 times so that I would have 6 pages in total. Okay, I did want to mention that for my front and back covers, I used a piece of the decorative paper that measured 6 5/8 by 4 3/8. And that is the final size of your pages, 6 5/8 by 4 3/8. So I just wanted to make sure I came back on to tell you that. So I used my cinch machine to bind this little brag book together. You could also use binder rings. You could use the spiral type of binding, you know, whatever works for you. You could even turn this into a mini album and use a hidden hinge type of binding. That would work as well. So for this one, though, I'm using the cinch machine. I pulled out number 8. And then I also pushed the ruler part here out to where the end of the ruler was right here at the 12 3/4 inches mark. There we go. So the 7 is lining up with the 12 3/4 inch mark on the top ruler. Okay? You'll see my little pen mark there. So what that does is give us an even punching along the end. And so when you're looking at your page, you'll notice that this is a thinner side and this on the left-hand side is thicker. Well, I accounted for the holes that we'll be making and wanted to kind of center the cutout more on the page based on that. I didn't center the cutout on the page itself. I accounted for the holes that I'll be making. So you know the setup that I used for my cinch. I'm just going to put this in all the way over to the left-hand side and punch. The next thing we do is to add all of our pages together and our covers using the wire binding. So now I'm ready to bind my little brag book here. I have my We Are Memory Keeper binding wires. This is 0.75 or 3/4 inch. So what I did was cut out 7 little tabbies here. And then I just used my wire cutters to cut that. And you'll see that that matches up with the holes that I have. Now, I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see, but I'll try to do this to where you can in case you've never used a cinch machine. But I'm taking my wire with the flat side here, not the rounded tips, the flatter side. And I'm going to put that over the edge of these little pieces. I'm going to take my brag book, and it is in the order that I want it to be in. I'm going to bring forward my back cover. Now I also have an acetate piece for the back, so I'm going to flip those over as well. So when you do that, you flip it over so that the outside and the front of your covers meet. Okay, so let me do that again. So if your pages are all in order, you're going to take your back cover, you're going to flip it over onto the front cover. Now, like I mentioned, I'm bringing over the acetate piece because that's going to be part of the back cover as well. And then now what we do is take our pages and line these up onto the wire. Okay, so we have our pages and cover on the wire. We flip the machine around and we dial this until it's to the 3/4 inch, since I am using a 3/4 inch binding wire. Make sure all my pages are in the center here. I'm going to place these wire pieces to the back side of this area right here. Okay, so it'll go in there like this. And then I will make sure your fingers are out of the way, and then I'm going to push down on the handle to close up and cinch the wires. Okay, now when you do that, if you see that it's wider than you want it to be, then just crank down your knob and then close down on it again. I like mine to be closer together like this. So I'm going to do that until I get it to where I like it. Once you have it in the placement that you want, you take your back cover, you flip that around to the back side of your book, and now you have your little brag book all together. So that's it for the tutorial. I told you how to create the page construction, and that's really the basis of the brag book are the pages. Once you get them down, you can really do what you want with them. I created little belly bands. I created little tuck spots. Here's a photo spot, photo mat spot. There's a top tuck. This again is like a little pocket or tuck spot. We have a side pocket here and here. So you could really just decorate them however you want. With the pages, I also gave you dimensions for the covers, and then I showed you how to bind it. So that's really it. It's a really quick and easy, fun project to create. And I'm really loving it. I hope you do too. If you create one, please share. I would love to see it. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you next time.